Hi guys, it's Cindy aka Disney Queen. I'm bringing you the next in my series on my Disney World planner book for 2019. I don't know if you know, my family and I will be traveling next November to Disney World. Our first trip was in 1998, many years ago. We've been many times since then. We've stayed on property and off property. From my very first trip, I did a Disney planning binder. And so it's one of those things I really enjoy preparing for ahead of time. This one is a little different from some of the ones I've done before. So this time I thought I would do a series on how I go about planning my Disney trips. And this time we're going to concentrate on dining, which is one of my favorite parts. I love looking up all the different restaurants. I love looking at the menus. I love choosing which place we will eat at based on the type of food that we like, based on the theming. A lot of times we will go to the resorts. In the past, we've usually eaten most of our meals off-site. Next year may be a little different because we're going to be flying down, so we're going to have to probably eat on property a little bit more than we usually do, but we'll see what happens when we get down there. Usually we do one character meal. If possible, we will do one big dining meal, which for us most of the time is ohana, and then we will do an extra, we'll do a breakfast or lunch. So I've picked a couple of places that I'm really excited about trying again, and I've even added a few new places. And like I said, we'll see by the time we get there, we'll see how all of that pans out. So if you've not seen my binder before, it has just pictures that I collected off of the internet, and then I put stickers on it to make it really colorful, and it has our name on the side, and then on the back it has Disney World Vacation Planner. I will have links below with some of the inserts that you'll see. They were free planning printouts. One of the places actually is no longer available, and I'm really sorry for that, because she had a great site with a really nice planning set that she gave out for free, and I'm not really sure what happened. I went and I did a little research and tried to find the link and couldn't find it. But my binder has a cover sheet, and then it has like a table of contents. We've already gone over how I go about choosing resorts and the fact that we like to to resort hop. And we also talked in my last video about how I go about scheduling the days. And so one of the first things that we do when we first start to schedule, well, again, if you have not seen a video before, it's usually me that's planning the videos. Planning our trips. And so this is the section that has Disney dining, restaurants, and menus. And it has a sheet that I got off the internet that has dining reservations, the restaurant name, the date and the time, the park or the resort that it's going to be at, and the reservation confirmation number. And so I have several sheets of those in here because, like I said, this time, if things go well, we'll be eating at a couple of different places. And because my husband has special dietary needs, that's going to factor in where we end up staying, or where we end up going to eat. So as we go about the trip, you may notice that we won't eat at like hamburgers or we might have a hamburger here or there, but it won't be the main thing that we're looking for, which sometimes is a little hard at Disney, but it can be done because, like I said, I go through the menus. And so I also have a section in my planner for menus. And so I write down some of the places that I'm most interested in, and then I go online and look at one place that I use a lot is let's see if I can remember the name. It's Deb Willis, and it's one of the planning websites that I've used since I first started planning Disney trips back in 1998. And she has a section that they keep updated that has all of the menu choices. It has the prices. It's categorized by resorts, by park, by lands. So it's really easy to navigate as far as to if you're looking for something specific. Like if say you want to go to Magic Kingdom that day and you really would like to eat at Magic Kingdom, there's a section that shows you what restaurants are in Magic Kingdom, what snack places are at Magic Kingdom. And now that you can drink at Magic Kingdom, if that's what you like to do, they have a section where it shows, you know, some of the places where you can get adult beverages. And then after I look at that, sometimes I go online to YouTube and I put in a search engine the name of specific restaurants so that I can kind of get a feel for what that restaurant is like. And if looking at the menu, if it's something that I would be interested in. And I also look to see what people think of the food, because you spend a lot of money for dining at Disney, and the last thing you want to do is pay sometimes between $10-$14 for like lunchtime, sometimes $25 to $50 for dinner time per person. You want to be able to enjoy your meal, so it's nice to get the opinions of other people who have been before. So that's what I'm going to do, is tell you a little bit about some of the places that I like to eat. So I have a menu section also in my planner, and when we get ready to go on the trip, I'll probably put, like, in my notes section of my phone, the places that we're going to eat or would like to eat, the places that we'll have priority reservations for, and then links to menus for those. You can also look on your Disney app and my Disney Experience app, and it will take you directly to where you can find some of the restaurants. And also one of the new things that they're doing is now you can pre-order your food before you get there. You go into the app. If the restaurant is one of those that participates in that, you can go in, order your food, and then you go, you let them know that you're ready. They'll let you know when it's ready, and then you will go up and you'll be able to get your food without standing in a long line. And I mean, to me, that's just kind of like a fast pass for riding, but it's like a fast pass for dining. You still have to wait a little bit, and these, I believe, are only at like the counter service places where you would get something and grab and go. But for some restaurants, you will have to make a reservation in advance, and you can do that 180 days in advance, I believe, if you're staying on property. And since we'll be staying on property, that's something we'll be able to do. And my travel agent will actually be doing that for me, so I just give her the list of the places that we're interested in, what days we would like to go, and then she takes care of that for us. Sometimes she might email me back and say, this particular day didn't work. Is it something you really want to do? We can try another day. We might have to change around our schedule. And that's why I kind of do my dining first before I make a decision about which park I'm going to stay at, because I want to not have to run around too much. And if I'm going to stay in the park and eat, I need to know which park I'm staying at. Let's see, what else? If you want to dine at one of the resorts, that is very easy to do. You can get reservations for a lot of those places. Where we are staying is the All-Star Sports Resort, so there may be times where we may want to eat breakfast in our room, but then there may be times where we come in the evening and there might be a chance where you don't get an opportunity to go to a restaurant in the park, but you get back to at the end of the evening. We've done that where we just wanted something quick in a hurry to just take back to our room, and there's plenty of choices at the hotel. Even at the All-Star, there's plenty of places plenty of different choices as to what you can eat. You can get pizza, you can get hamburger, or you can sometimes get a salad. It just depends. So the last time I talked, I showed my schedule on how I go about planning our days, and I have a section for food. So like, for example, I have here breakfast in the morning before the day we leave. We'll make sure we eat before we get ready to go to the airport, whatever time that may be, because we haven't made the reservations yet. Then when we arrive in Orlando, our plan at the moment is to go to downtown Disney for me, but it's actually called Disney Springs now. And we might try for lunch the chicken guy. I've heard a lot about it, that there's good chicken and good sauces, so it's something that we may try. We might get to Disney Springs and see something else that we like instead. If we can get an early enough flight that evening, my plan is, if we can get the reservations, to eat at Ohana, because that's where we like to eat when we first arrive at Disney. That has been a tradition for my family for a number of years. Most part, we've always been able to do it. There's been one occasion when we couldn't, and that was because we had a little trouble with our car, so we were late for our reservation. Then I have the next day, I have breakfast in the room. That could be cereal or oatmeal or some fruit and some danishes, just something to get us started, because we like to go into the parks early, so that means we have to be prepared to grab and go with something to eat. Then I have lunch at Geyser Point Bar and Grill, which is at the Wilderness Lodge, and I even have the notes as to where the different restaurants are in my planning sheet. Then I have dinner at possibly the Contemporary Cafe at the Contemporary Resort. That would actually be a first for us. The next day I have, would be new, but it's on the list because my daughter that's going with us loves The Little Mermaid, and so I had seen several videos that the Trattoria Al Forno, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, at the boardwalk, that they have a character breakfast, and it's with Ariel and I'm trying to think of what the other princess is. I can't think off the top of my head. I guess I have to put it in here. But I thought that she might enjoy that, so she's still trying to decide if that's something she's interested in doing. Then we would take a lunch break later that day, and we could do the All-Star Sports, unless we see like a counter service menu that we like at the park. And I think that day I have us at Epcot. So there's also the possibility when we get there that they will be having the holiday food festival. That is actually something new to me when I started doing research, and for the time period that we're going to be going, it's going to be around Christmas time. And so they have little kiosks where you can sample food as if you were at the Food and Wine Festival. So that would be something new also for our family. So there's a possibility we could maybe just stay, and because I'm hoping the weather will be really great in November, we could actually eat, go around the world and eat. And then I have that evening, we would still be at Epcot that evening. We are getting park hoppers, but we will be that particular day, Epcot will be a full day, even if we took a break and came back later on. And I even think I have on here a lunch break. We would leave the park and then come back a little later in the day. Then I have, the next day would be breakfast at the Garden Grill. I've heard a lot about the Garden Grill. As a matter of fact, there used to be a time when my youngest daughter, the one that's going with us, when we would go to the Garden Grill, she was always so interested in the fact that the restaurant went around in a circle and you would see Mickey and his little farm gear. that we took a picture for a lot of years of her in front of that particular restaurant. We never ate there. So again, this was a choice that I had with her in mind, that maybe finally we could eat at the Garden Grill for breakfast. Then I have lunch at Epcot. We love Epcot, so you'll see that we spent a lot of, that is a plan. We didn't get to do it the last time we went, and I don't know what exactly happened. We didn't spend as much time at Epcot as we usually do. So I have Epcot lunch around, I always call it Epcot Festival of the Holidays. So if, let's say we do the Festival of the Holidays the day before, we could always do something else that next day. Like I said in previous videos, we always have a plan, but we always make provision for if something changes. Let's say it rains and we just decide to leave the park, although sometimes that's a good time to stay in the park. We can always switch up the schedule. Then I have dinner that evening at the All-Star Sports Resorts. So what I really try to do is, if we're going to eat an expensive meal that day, whether it's lunch or dinner, then the other two meals I will try to keep within a certain budget. That's not always easy at Disney. And I have a budget in my head of what I'd like for us to spend, and let's hope that it stays that way. So then the next day, which would be a Friday, I have breakfast in our room again. We would possibly be at Animal Kingdom that day. So I have us going to Animal Kingdom and then leaving. And I have down here that we would take an Uber to Giordano's Pizza. Now, near Disney Springs, which is not too far from Animal Kingdom, and that's something I keep in mind when we're planning where we're going to eat, is what is nearby. There's a restaurant off property called Giordano's Pizza. It's like the deep dish pizza that's in Chicago, and it's the same type of Chicago restaurant. And we've gone there for several times over the years. As a matter of fact, every time we've gone, we've had the same waiter. I don't know what it is, but he's always there in the afternoons when we usually go for like lunch before the crowds start to get, a little bit bigger. And it has the best deep dish pizza. I mean, it is so good. Now, we took my oldest daughter there last year, and that was her first time going. So I really like to take my youngest daughter there, because one time we watched Steve Harvey, and there he did a thing about the pizza in Chicago, and Giordano's, I want to say the owner was there, and he showed how to make a deep dish pizza, and my youngest daughter and I made a deep dish pizza after that, and it was pretty good. I'm sure it didn't taste like the one that you can get in Chicago, but it wasn't too bad. So I thought this would be a good way to get off property, and maybe even do some shopping at some of the outlets and stuff, and then come back later on that evening back to Epcot. Like I said, we stay at Epcot, and then because we're eating out that particular day at a more expensive restaurant, we would have dinner that evening at the All-Star Sports Resorts. And one thing about staying at the All-Star Resorts is, because all of the resorts are lined up together, even if the food is kind of the same, you can always go over and check out one of the other resorts and eat there, and get like a different environment. And I just that might be fun, or we might be too tired and just want to go to the one near where we are. There's plenty of flexible choices for you to make, and there's plenty to choose from. So then I have, on Saturday, I have breakfast in our room, and that will be, I think that's like a down day. I don't think I have a schedule to go into the park, and that would be a first for us. Usually when we go, we may not go to the park the first day we get there. We definitely don't go to the park the last day we're there, even though we drive. But we usually don't take us time in between. But because of some changes in both of our health, I just feel like we need to have a day where it's not hustle and bustle. because we get up early and we stay out late. So I have breakfast in the room, and then I have us going back down to Disney Springs, and I have us having lunch at Disney Springs at the 4R Cantina Barbacoa food truck. Now the reason I picked this was because I love tacos. And I saw a taco shaped like an ice cream cone stuffed with like everything you would want to put in a taco. And I saw this online where someone was doing a review, and it was at this particular food truck restaurant. And I was like, if I can get a chance to go down there and try that, I am going to try that. And that will also give us more time to spend at Disney Springs and go around and check out the shops. They've added a few more even since I was there last year. They've redone the Disney store. I'm not saying that I really like it, but I still love going in the Disney store, so I'm gonna try that. And then this is something I've been wanting to do forever and a day, and every time we go, something happens and we never make it. So I have for dinner at Saskawala Floatworks and Food Factory, and that's at Port Orleans French Quarter. And because we'll already be at Disney Springs, my plan is for us to take the boat over to Port Orleans and visit. And I also want to maybe get my beignet from there. I've been to New Orleans before, so I want to see if this tastes as good as the ones at New Orleans. And I'm hoping that maybe there's some special little treats because it's Christmas time that you wouldn't get any other time. Because I know for Halloween they had like a pumpkin spice Mickey shaped beignet. So I'm really interested to see what they might have, if anything, for Christmas time. So that's the plan for that day. And then I think we have one more park day, and that's on a Sunday, and we would do breakfast in the room. If we can get reservations, we may do lunch at Be Our Guest. We've done it before, and felt like it was not that they hurried me, but we were just so excited to be there that I really didn't sit down and enjoy my meal as much as I would have liked to. So I want to give it a second chance. I wasn't as impressed with the food once I sat down to eat it as I had heard from other people, but sometimes your experience isn't as good the first time, so you go back and you try it again. So that's the plan, and that way also with my daughter in mind, it would give her a chance to see the Be Our Guest restaurant. So that is a Magic Kingdom day, so that actually works out pretty good. And then we would take a break maybe and then come back to Magic Kingdom later on that evening. And I have dinner at Gasparilla Island Grill at the Grand Floridian. So my plan is to do lunch within the park, maybe stay around for the parades, and then leave and go around and do a little resort hopping on the monorail. And then afterwards, before we come back into the parks for the evening, depending on what, because during this time of the year, the parks aren't open as long. And then some days they have the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. We'd like to do the Merry Christmas Party, but there's a chance that maybe we won't get to do it. So it's going to affect when we can go into Magic Kingdom. So because of that, I figured we would either stay at Magic Kingdom if it's going to close early, and then we can always go over to Grand Floridian for dinner, and then that would end our day. So that would be our last day in the parks, and the next morning would be a Monday. We would have been there for a week, and I have us going to breakfast at Boma. My plan is hopefully when we get ready to book our plane tickets that we book early in the morning to leave when we first coming to Florida, and then later on in the evening when we are leaving Florida, so that we have a little time before we have to be at the airport. And so because of that, I'm booking Boma for that morning, because that is the restaurant that my husband is most excited about eating at. So I have to make sure we eat at Boma. If it looks like our plane tickets, we can't get them like we want, I might have to switch some stuff around just to make sure that he gets to eat at Boma. And then we would depart from the airport and head for home. So that is my whole dining plan for the week that we're going to be at Disney. We will see how that pans out. I love the theme of the restaurants at Disney. I love how the character meals at Disney. I especially love being able to go to the different hotels and then checking out how Disney just kind of makes it, all a part of the parks. I love when we go and it's Christmas time and you can go to the different hotels and they're all decorated for Christmas. We've done that several times, at least 2 other times before. And just the atmosphere. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. And so even though it won't be Christmas time when we go, Disney will already be set up for Christmas. So that's going to make it extra special. And I think the restaurants that we've chosen, because they're ones that we really like going to, and we'll be trying a couple of new ones, I think that's going to make for an exciting trip. So I hope you've enjoyed my series so far. The next section in my series is going to be how I go about planning our Disney rides. So I have a section that has Magic Kingdom, the transportation. That's a whole nother video all by itself, why I love the transportation at Disney. Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, which rides we like in each park. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you really liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe. And if you really want to catch my videos, on average I put them out on Tuesday, but sometimes I may put them out a day before, so you might want to hit the little bell notification button so that you don't miss one when it comes out. And until then, have a blessed day.